Hey, this is Jonathan Stockstill. Thank you for taking a couple of seconds and watching this short video on succession. If you're watching this, maybe you're in the position of taking the baton from somebody previous to you, or maybe you're passing it to somebody. I'd specifically like to speak to those that are receiving the baton and running forward with the vision. In 1963, my grandfather, Roy Stockstill, started a small church in his living room. He named the church Bethany Baptist Church. And it was a full gospel church, but he came out of a Baptist background and didn't know what else to name it, so he named it Bethany Baptist Church. And his vision was just to help people. And he had a real strong emphasis on missions, supporting missionaries around the world. He loved worship and pastored the church for 20 years. And the church grew from his living room to about 1,000 people, which in that time was pretty significant. 1983, my father, Larry Stockstill, was in a Sunday night service, and they were in the middle of worship. And Brother Roy Stockstill, my grandfather, looked at my father, Larry Stockstill, and said, I feel led to pass the baton of the church to you. How do you feel about that? And the first thing my dad said was, absolutely not. But as worship went on, the Lord really dealt with him and gave him a clear word that that was his will. So he said, I'll do it. And that night, he became the lead pastor. And it was just as simple as that. And then he pastored the church for 28 years and grew the church to several thousand members, and Bethany has had long-standing impact in the world, just with small groups, and we're known for integrity and church planning and all kind of things. Bethany has an incredible legacy, and in 2011, my father and the presbytery here approached me about the possibility of my wife and I becoming the lead pastors here at Bethany, and my immediate response was absolutely not. I was the lead singer of a worship band called Deluge, and absolutely loved what I was doing, writing songs, and just was having a lot of fun. So I said no, and we prayed about it for a while. It took almost a year. So we really just sought the Lord about it and prayed about it, and in my heart, it was just a no. And I can bring you to the exact spot. I was exiting the interstate right here by our South Campus, and I was exiting the interstate, and the Lord spoke to me very clearly. It might as well have been audible that I was supposed to pastor this church. And I'm going to share 4 thoughts with you. The first one is that make sure that you have a clear word from God before you move into a position of succession like we're talking about. If you're being pushed into it, if you feel like it's inevitable, if you feel like it's just the right thing to do, none of those measure up to a right reason. You have to make sure that it's the Lord and He speaks clearly to you, and He's able to do that. And so just seek His wisdom and refuse to move unless He's spoken to you about it. You know, because as things get tough and as you have the fight that's ahead, because it will be an uphill battle, you will have to fight, and you'll have to go back to that spot and say, I remember when the Lord specifically spoke to me and called me to do this. So, first thought is make sure you have a clear word from God. Second thought is if you're going to be a pastor, you need to know that being a pastor, a lead pastor, is not just about management and about good administration and being a good visionary. You have to be able to preach. And there's a lot of young people that maybe have a degree in management, have a degree in accounting or whatever. They have a degree and they feel like they can knock it out of the park being a senior pastor. Being a senior pastor is all about preaching. So make sure you can preach. Try to preach to youth groups, to college groups. Preach as much as you can, because you will be called upon to preach a lot. Third thought is make sure that you have a vision for the ministry. Don't just get excited about the possibility of being the lead person, because if you don't dream and you don't have a vision for where you're going to take it, when the ball is actually yours, you're going to be paralyzed, not knowing where to take it. And everybody's looking to you for vision. It's a huge part of it. Make sure you know where you're going. The last thought that I'd like to say is that not everybody's going to be excited about your transition. And what you don't understand is people will smile. Most people will smile and be very cordial. But if your predecessor is a great person like my father was and a great leader, many people love his leadership, and they just are very suspicious that you possibly are not going to be able to lead in the same capacity. So I would just challenge you to know that you're being watched by so many people. It's funny, I've been pastoring now 2 years, and I have people that are just now coming out and telling me, hey, when you first took over, we were not excited about you taking over. And which is funny to me, because they were smiling and saying they were excited, but that's the true nature of it. You have to understand that there's a lot of people that were happy the way things were. And so you're going to have to work diligently to win those people over, to influence them, to gain their respect, their leadership, And I don't think you can come in and just make extreme, abrupt changes. You have to be very strategic about how you unfold your vision. Well, those are 4 quick thoughts. Just to recap, make sure that God has spoken a clear word to you. Make sure that you can preach. Make sure that you're visionary, and be ready for the opposition. Be ready to be able to win some people over, because that's really what Succession is all about. Thank you for watching.